What is up, everybody? I am NerdRage36, and I should apologize for the lackluster video I made the other day reacting to the final episode of Kingdom Hearts Key, or the secret episode. So I figured I should do something, just digging a little more into it. Again, I was expecting something completely different, but yeah, gotta roll with the punches, and I think I've come up with something interesting from what we were given. Now, before I get into it, I should mention that, like in the past two videos I've made, I'm going to reference HMK and Sword Art Online. Each of them have their own theory as to what kind of went down. HMK believes that the player awoke in a sleeping world of the Enchanted Domain. Sword Art Online believes that at the end with Kirthi, Scold, and Ephemera, that the player was taken to the Unchained with the rest of the Dandelions. Who do I believe? Both. I've sort of taken both of their observations and gone back to look at it from my own perspective and sort of try and piece together a little more. And this is what I've come up with because of that. Again, I will leave links to their videos in the description. Something I forgot to mention in the reaction video is that Maleficent shows up. When you see the thorns, I guess the thorns were a dead giveaway. When you see the thorns on the edge of the screen, it cuts over to what's on the other side of the thorns, and Maleficent is there. And she even refers to Sora by name, saying, "Oh, he can't meddle in here anymore, ha ha ha." So what does this all mean? Well, kind of referring to HMK's video, I do believe the Enchanted Domain is a sleeping world. I mean, we've only ever seen it in Birth by Sleep, and at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, various worlds that we didn't save that were swallowed by darkness became sleeping worlds after Ansem's little incursion. Now, it is possible that it's just a sleeping world and that's it, but I think that Maleficent wanted to keep it a sleeping world. She is a witch who controls sleep, after all, as we've seen in both the movie and in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, where she puts Terra to sleep so that he can extract Aurora's heart for her. So she can control sleep, and I'm assuming a sleeping world could potentially be where she has more power. So, and something interesting with the sleeping worlds is that when you go into the sleeping world, you can enter an earlier version of that world, basically sort of like contained time travel. So you can go to various worlds just before they disappeared, and when they became sleeping worlds. So Maleficent could have traveled back a bit further when she enters and leaves her sleeping world. Being a witch who controls sleep, I assume she can enter and leave whenever she wants. But then how does she show up when the player character is there? Because the player character became a member of the Dandelions, was taken to the Unchained, and the Dandelions were supposed to wake up on the fragmented worlds, and depending on how many people were there on each fragmented world, rebuild, which is why certain fragmented worlds are more advanced than others. So our player character obviously awoke on the fragmented world that became Enchanted Domain. But here's another thing. In the end of 2.5 with the recoded cutscene compilation, the Maleficent was looking for both the Datascape and the Tome of Prophecy. She refers to both of them. And with the Tome of Prophecy, each of the foretellers had one, but as far as we know, the only part of it that still exists because it's the only person of the 6 apprentices that survived is Luxu, and all he has is the last page. His job was to observe the Keyblade War and move on. He must have taken the final page with him. So, it could be that Maleficent found the final page. I mean, how else would she know of the Tome of Prophecy as a whole? It's like, what else? What part of the modern era would refer back to the Tome of Prophecies? It could be that she has the final page, and if she gets her hands on the Datascape, which is what she was after in Dream Drop Distance, she could use the datascape on that final page. Kind of getting a little more convoluted here, but I assume, I'm guessing here, again, just speculation, but this is what I think, that Maleficent took the datascape, or at least a part of it, the final page of the Tome of Prophecy, into her sleeping world, and using her control over sleep within the sleeping world, the datascape and the Tome of Prophecy being a piece of the ancient world, to sort of project herself to when her world was built, when that chunk of the world Prime was rebuilt into the Enchanted Domain by the Dandelions. So that could be what she is doing there. It could be an illusion presented by both the Tome of Prophecy and the datascape. So what does this mean? Like, why is she there, and why was this the secret episode, or the secret movie, or whatever you want to call it? Well, I don't think this is just a cliffhanger for Kingdom Hearts Key. I think that this is actually foreshadowing of the actual final cutscene for Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. Because what Nomura has said before is that Unchained Key is getting what they're calling a Season 2. Season 1 could just be the retelling of Kingdom Hearts Key, because when you're put in the Unchained, you relive past events. That could be the story of Kingdom Hearts Key. That's Season 1. Season 2 could be when you're taken to the Unchained and possibly waking up on the fragmented worlds. New missions could even involve us rebuilding. And possibly at the very end, like once we've built the Enchanted Domain, because obviously that's the world that we woke up on, after the Keyblade War and everything scattered. At the very end, it's like, I've done a good day's work, built a new world, time to take a nap. And that, of course, is where the player will have flashbacks to both the Keyblade War and Skull and Ephemera. And Kirithy, of course, says, you've been having that same dream since that day. So we've been flashing back to the Keyblade War, Skull and Ephemera, since we entered the Unchained, after the Keyblade War. Now, what point does that serve, and why is Maleficent interested in that? Well, I think, again, kind of like with the Skull and Ephemera being in the original Pure Light and Pure Darkness, unless that's proven to be false, or really anything, because they seem to be pivotal characters that have more relevance than just being there. Like, a lot of people assume that they were just there to be the catalyst of the player character when the movie was made. I don't think so. It could be that, again, they serve a much more important role. Again, I still think that they were what made the original X-Blade. And the player character, us, was close to Skull and Ephemera. And so we awoke on the fragmented world that we built into the Enchanted Domain. Maleficent came from the Enchanted Domain and is looking back into the past, seeing our player character, and possibly, we might see this in Unchained Key Season 2, that we have a connection to Skull and Ephemera. Whatever their greater role is, whatever their power is, whatever makes them more important than ourselves in the story, which we might see in back cover, again, doing a video on that in December when it comes out, look forward to it, whatever their importance is, has Maleficent's attention. So she could be constantly going back to earlier points in her world's history to study us in order to understand Skull and Ephemera. Understand the past to use to her advantage in the present. And again, she refers to Sora by name. Is there something in the sleeping version of her world that she doesn't want Sora to get to? Potentially, us. Very convoluted, but hey, that's one of the things that's fun about Kingdom Hearts. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to subscribe for more. Have an awesome day, and I will see you all next time.